Today we're going to talk about Reiki. Hey guys, welcome to the Conscious Flow podcast. We're your hosts, Kevin and Marley.
Hey.
And I have questions for Marley about Reiki and if you guys have ever heard about it or been interested in it. She has been doing it for like 8 years. Is that right?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, and I still don't know everything there is to know about it, so I'm curious to know like more about it. So I do have, and I've also experienced the Reiki healing, but Marley, do you want to give like your definition of Reiki?
Yeah. So Reiki is pretty simple. Reiki actually translates to universal life force energy. You got the Rei, which is the universal life force. Well, actually, the Ki is the life force. So the Rei is like the universal, and the Ki is the life force energy. It's like the chi. If you've ever heard of chi that runs through your body, it's like the life force energy that runs through us. I kind of like to think of it as veins that run through our body, through meridian channels. They kind of look like veins, I guess you could say. And they're what gives us life. And when we get blockages in our chi, we can get all sorts of different ailments that happen. But essentially, Reiki is channeling this universal life force energy. It's basically the energy that's in everything and everyone. And when you're doing Reiki, the practitioner is essentially just opening up to being a channel to this life force energy and allowing it to channel through your body into the client. And so actually what happens is that the client's receiving healing, also the practitioner is receiving healing as well. And Reiki, this life force energy, has a consciousness of its own, and it naturally goes to the areas in the body that need healing. And so when someone learns Reiki, they get attuned to Reiki symbols, and this is a specific way to channel the universal life force energy. It was a guy in Japan, his name's Yusui. It wasn't that long ago that he discovered Reiki.
Yeah,
Sorry.
do you know
Yeah.
like what year that was? Because one of our guests, well now
Yeah.
actually have two of the guests we've had on have actually talked about this guy from Japan, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Do we
and
know what
I
year?
wish I knew the year. I don't know the year off the top of my head. Jordanelle, she also talked about this really well. I know Maki did too.
Yeah.
In our previous episode.
But it was like 100 years ago or less than 100 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know. It was within the last 100 years. I'm pretty sure. But my intuition says Reiki has been around way longer. It just maybe was called something else, and there was another method of channeling it, maybe using different symbols or no symbols at all. But basically Yusui just, I guess Jordanelle described it, and I also don't know his story super well off the top of my head, which I probably should because I'm going to be getting into teaching Reiki soon. But I do know that he was in a cave, and the symbols came to him in a cave while he was, I believe, fasting. And he just knew that this was something that he needed to share. And he was running down the hill from the cave and tripped and fell and hurt his foot. And then he put his hands on his foot, and it healed immediately when he drew the symbols on it. And so that was kind of like, that's like the story of the origins of Reiki. And
what do the symbols look like?
Well, they're kind of sacred, and so we're not I mean, you can Google Reiki symbols and it'll just show up on Google.
Okay.
But as a teacher, you're not really supposed to just share it with just anyone,
Is
because it's sacredly, passed down through the lineage. It's kind of like a lineage. When someone is attuned, they're part of your lineage kind of thing if you attune them. And so,
okay, yeah. Jordan
yeah.
L said your seventh lineage, or she said,
Oh, she's seventh generation lineage from the founder, which is Yusui, and I'm eighth generation because Jordan L attuned me as a master. Although I was attuned by another woman, and she was also very close to the founder. I don't know exactly the number, but yeah, so that kind of shows this is a newer modality, I guess. And we're not that far from the founder. And when you find a teacher who's like not that far from the founder, then it's more direct, I guess.
so does that mean there's only seven masters before you then?
Yeah.
So would that be like seven people? Or okay, that's not that
Kind of
many.
think of it as like you could think of, so Jordan L attuned me, so it's almost like a family line kind of thing. You can think of it as, so like Jordan L would be like maybe my mother, and then her grandmother, and then or my grandmother attuned her. And I don't know why I think of it as a family line, but essentially it's like, yeah, Jordan L attuned me, then someone above her attuned her, and then the person above her attuned them, and like it goes back to Yusui, and there's only seven people above me. So yeah, seven masters, and Yusui passed it down to, yeah, to directly to the number one, I guess.
So I wonder what it's at now.
Yeah. What do you mean, like?
Like, is it ninth generation, or would it be 200th generation, depending on how many people have joined since you?
Oh, well, are you thinking of, there's only, because Yusui attuned several people, right? So
Yeah.
of those many people that he's attuned, and it used to be that people would just have to hang out with Yusui. He was so embodied in his Reiki energy. People would just go hang out with him for a weekend and they'd leave as a master. And so Reiki is fluid, and there's different structures and ways to teach Reiki, but essentially, like, they've sort of created, and I don't even think Yusui, I don't even know if he like was the one to create the full attunement process, but it sort of evolved into an attunement process to help someone anchor in the Reiki energy in their body. It's like you get activated with the Reiki codes, and then it can never be unactivated. It's like riding a bike. And so once you're attuned, and you don't need to be attuned again.
Okay.
And there's different levels of attunement. There's Reiki 1, where you get attuned to being able to channel Reiki just through your body and offer yourself healing, maybe do it on a friend or something. Reiki 2 is when you're wanting to be a practitioner, and that's the next level of attunement and initiation. You're attuned to different symbols and different codes, I guess, and you learn to offer this work as a healing practice. And then the master level is you learn to then attune others, and that's another attunement where you get attuned to new master level symbols. It like amplifies the power of the Reiki in your body, and yeah.
Right. Okay, so basically it works through energy pathways in the body and symbols. So, yeah, I guess help me understand so you've done Reiki on my foot, when I have a bump on my foot. what's happening when you're putting your hand on my foot, and then what are you doing with, you know, like are you doing the symbols and clearing the energy pathways?
Yeah, so the symbols can be used to draw on the client. I actually don't use the symbols anymore. I use my own symbol that came to me in a dream. I call it the water body symbol, and essentially it helps clear the emotional body and clear karma in the client's body. But I actually rarely even use that on a client. While I'm doing healing work on them, I might draw it on them before they actually show up to sort of harmonize our energies. And so I'll just visualize it on their body before they even show up for the session. I don't use symbols as much because I feel like it's activated in me. I think Reiki is very intuitive, and you don't need to do it a certain way necessarily. I feel so when I'm doing Reiki on you, I am channeling this universal life force through my body into your body, and this energy just knows where to flow and knows where to go. And I'm also drawn to different points of your body. So on your foot, it was like, okay, this area needs attention. And then on top of that, I actually do a lot more than just Reiki. So what we just described was Reiki, and this is something Jordanelle has talked about too. What I do is I call it Galactic Reiki because yes, I'm channeling the universal life force energy through my body into your body. But then I'm also calling in your higher self, your spirit guides.
I just noticed your
okay.
mic was okay.
Thank you.
We're good.
Yeah.
Try not to wiggle it too much either. But
Okay. So I is it moving a lot right now? Sorry, this mic.
just when you're moving your hands, I think too much, the
Okay.
amount. See how it's like a pendulum. It
Yeah.
turns into a pendulum. But
Okay.
anyway, this is our
Yeah.
and also sorry about the background noise. We are in Hawaii. The heat has been turned up this time of year, so we got to do the podcast with the windows open. So you might hear some chickens, and there's like a cough going around. So you might hear some of our neighbors coughing.
Yeah.
And also you might hear some beautiful birds that we we know all their names because we went on a bird tour. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, so back to Jordanelle
Yeah.
and Galactic Reiki.
Well, yeah. So essentially, I feel like when you're attuned to Reiki, it opens you up to your soul gifts. It basically opens the gateway for new gifts to awaken within you. And so, yes, you're channeling this universal life force energy, but then other forms of healing work start to come through. And I've seen this in many people who do Reiki. They're like, I'm doing a lot more than just Reiki. And for me, I work with the emotional body, and so I will like tune in. When I'm tuning into your foot, I can feel the emotional pain that's stored in there, and I'll move it and clear it out.
Right.
And
Yeah.
along with it, I'll also call in your higher self and spirit guides to come in and bring you healing that's serving your highest good. And I call in the galactic beings, which I work with the Galactic Council of Light. And I always say the Galactic Council of Light in conscious service to light. And I'm very strong with my boundaries, but essentially they are extraterrestrials, I believe. And this is a huge topic that keeps coming up on our podcast is we keep interviewing people and talking about extraterrestrials and channeling them. And what that looks like. And yeah, and so but yeah, so I call in these galactic beings and they also do healing work. And so it's almost like I'm holding space for multiple different beings to bring healing to your body. And we have many different bodies layered together. We're multi-dimensional beings. And so we have a physical body, we have an emotional body, we have a parasitic body, which is the body that protects us from attachments and stuff. And that's where we get attachments. And so like parasitic attachments and energetic attachments, and they can feed off of our energy and affect us emotionally. And that happens when we're feeding kind of lower thought forms.
Hey,
Sorry, that's my dog.
Hey,
buddy.
hey, stop.
You're okay.
He thinks he's on sand and he's trying to dig a
Yeah.
hole.
I think he's just getting comfy and he likes, anyway, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so essentially talking about the bodies, and yeah, they do all different kinds of modalities, even surgical. It can be kind of surgical where they'll come in and like remove things from the body and replace things.
Right, because I had that bump on my foot and you were removing the bump, or they were
Yeah,
removing the
well,
bump.
it's funny because Jordanelle did work on your heel.
Yeah. Did she do Galactic Reiki?
I mean,
Or was it?
she'll call it that sometimes. That was kind of like my name for it, but I think her name and her wording is very versatile.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say she's doing Galactic Reiki.
It is pretty crazy when she's doing it or when you're doing the Reiki. I get these goosebumps on my skin and I can feel like all this energy flowing.
Yeah.
Then I can feel the pain or the bump going away at the end of the session.
Yeah, so I want to hear, I'm curious the difference between me and Jordanelle when we were both doing healing work on you, because I feel like we have different gifts, but we're also doing pretty similar things. What was the difference? And I know Jordanelle's was from a distant too, so my hands were actually on your foot when I was doing the Reiki, and Jordanelle was doing it from a distance. But I don't really believe that makes it any less potent. I think it's equally as potent because energy work goes beyond time and space. And that's something you learn when you do Reiki, is you can do it from a distance. It doesn't matter. It moves beyond time and space. But yeah, what was your experience?
So, yeah, Jordanelle's was distant, and then basically I just laid down, and then it's not like we were on the phone, but she was doing it from a distance, and then we just spoke on the phone afterwards to like discuss what was happening. And now I actually kind of forget the difference. I do remember, because this was a few months ago, both sessions were pretty powerful and like transformative. I think maybe Jordanelle's was like a little bit almost like a higher pitched energy, what I can describe, and yours might be a little bit lower pitch energy, I guess.
Cool.
Not like lower energy, but like a different frequency.
No, that totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like mine is like the ocean, kind of like the deep ocean.
Right.
Energy, and
It's got a negative charge.
which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the earth has a negative charge, and Jordanelle is like, yeah, goes straight to it and is very like direct and powerful. So yeah, anyway, keep going.
Yeah. Well, yeah, both I would get goosebumps feeling all this energy. And I mean, I think both were kind of equally as healing. It felt like, I mean, it did feel like a surgical process.
Yeah.
Where these little needles are going in and sucking out the fluid. In my case, like I had this fluid buildup in my foot, and whether that was caused from an injury or me storing any emotional pain there in that specific spot, because I think that's what happens with people is they'll end up storing any kind of pain just in one area, and so it can just accumulate in one area. So yeah, it just felt like all that fluid and pain was getting released from my foot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I can't really think of the total difference.
okay.
They were, I would say, pretty similar, but they definitely had their nuances. But because it was so many months ago and I don't have it written down in a journal, it's hard to know.
I remember a couple differences.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Like hearing Jordanelle's was, she like went in and she actually pulled up a video of a surgery.
Oh, yeah,
And
because this was
so-
on the debrief afterwards, which
Yeah.
you were part of.
Yeah, and I think I was just listening in the but yeah, like we thought it might have been like a bone growth there. And so there's like a name for it and I can't remember the name. Anyway, Jordanelle is a nurse, and so she has the brain for the nursing
Right.
surgical stuff. Like she's witnessed surgery and been, knows a lot about the human body. And so when she's doing energy work on someone, she has this knowledge layered in of the body, and she understands surgery. And so it's really funny because in your session, she pulled up a video of how to remove the bone from, like I forgot what it's called, but essentially like from I think you thought it was from a ski boot or something that could have rubbed on your heel.
Yeah, because I skied for 2 seasons, and the ski boot was really tight. And every time I got done skiing for the day, and I would ski 7 days a week, but when I would get done skiing, I would have a bump on my foot from the ski boot. And so now it felt like I just had like this permanent bump,
Yeah.
even though I hadn't skied in years.
Yep. Yeah, and so essentially like she went in, and I guess we learned that a bone can grow from that kind of rubbing or something. And so that was something that she did in the session, was she was seeing, I don't know if it was herself or galactic beings scraping the bone off the heel and just like removing it from the heel. And so that was very surgical.
Right,
and
so
physical.
she had that video pulled up side
Yeah.
by side, or like while she was. Well, and I mean, when you're doing Reiki, do you have your eyes shut, and are you using your like visual? Are you visualizing it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I used to have to focus really hard and have my eyes shut or something, and now I don't even have to think. I just feel that my hands are energetically on the person's body, if it's from a distance, or if it's in person, just place my hands there and boom, it's happening. And I don't have to close my eyes, and I can just see through my mind's eye like an overlap of what my eyes are seeing, so I don't have to close my eyes. I think it's kind of the same for Jordanelle, I think. And so yeah, but speaking for myself, I don't have to close my eyes. I'm just seeing the beings doing work on the body, and sometimes I'll just like gaze off into space and I'm just seeing the work happening, and I don't have to look at the body either. It's really interesting.
Wow. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I guess like because before I did the Reiki, I had a lot of pain on the bottom of my heel when I was walking from the pressure and from that bone growth, fluid buildup, and basically after I did the Reiki with you and Jordanelle, the pain in my heel went almost completely away. Like
Yeah.
it was like I could walk again with no pain. So it was pretty transformative.
Yeah. Yeah, so like that was what Jordanelle's was like removing the bone, the excess bone. And in my session, it was like I was picking up that you were storing a lot of emotions down in that, in your ankle. It was flaring up from the work that you were doing. Your jobs were very intense and you were just sending it all down into your ankle. Because you don't really internalize very much. You're very like neutral. You're not super emotional. And so I think just subconsciously you're also getting kind of emotionally abused in the workplace and different environments. And so it was just like shooting it into the foot.
Right. Yeah. And that's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that could be happening with a lot of people in the workplace too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So it was like, but I also saw the galactic beings like removing fluid from the heel, and it was also physical as well. Like, that's the thing is the galactic beings, they can work beyond the energetic, like the energetic body. Everything is energy at the core. This whole thing about it's the physical or the non-physical and they're totally different, like they're not that different. What separates us from other dimensions is vibrational frequency. And when it gets down to it, when you look at like quantum physics and stuff, everything is energy at the core, like everything. And so energy work can go all the way into the physical body.
right. And it can be more powerful than trying to go to a doctor and having them scrape something out
Well,
of your foot.
I
It
mean, I
depends
don't want to
on,
claim that. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
do
Not,
what you need to do. But
yeah.
I
But I
think
guess there is an alternative to going to a traditional doctor
if
and
not, if
getting,
something isn't working or it doesn't resonate, there's always another path. And I guess that's what this is. Like this, it's not about replacing medical. Like I can't say that. I'm not going to tell people, do galactic Reiki and don't go to a doctor. Like that's not a good idea. I mean, like legally I can't say that. And so yeah, but I think that just knowing that there's this kind of work happening and there's like the body is so powerful and there's other modalities in facilitating the body and healing itself, and just knowing that like everything is energy at the core, that's really powerful wisdom. And calling in the galactic beings, they understand when they're doing like surgical procedures, they understand how to do it in the least invasive way because they're aware of all the energy bodies, they're aware of all the bodies. And so they do it in a way that's very, harmonious. But they're also not going to come in and do surgical work on someone if you haven't done the emotional work to match that, I guess. And because most of the time, like what is manifesting in our bodies is at the core, it's emotional.
and would it be fair to say that most disease is energetic blockages in someone's body?
That's like what a shaman believes. Shamanism is under the belief that spirit, what like all illness is caused by imbalances in the spirit or the soul, whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, I believe that. And I also think that I take it a step further, and I believe that the emotional body is what manifests everything, every experience, every ailment, everything. It's our manifestation body. And so when your emotional body is unprocessed or imbalanced, everything gets out of whack. And so the galactic beings aren't going to be able to help you. Maybe they can balance something out physically, but that ailment will just come back, and it'll come back stronger, or it'll come back in a different way if you haven't processed your emotional body, if you haven't like worked on healing on the deepest emotional level. And so, yeah, it's a balancing act. Like, I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that was a great answer. And then
Yeah.
you talked about your past lives and your book that you published. And did you talk about Reiki at all in there, or?
Maybe a little, but not too much. Not really. My book is really about my past life journey. And it was my awakening journey. It's what essentially like pushed me onto the Reiki path and the energy healing path. But it started with remembering my past lives. And this is what I feel really passionate about, is when you start to remember your past lives and remember your soul origins, you can start to awaken gifts within your soul, like abilities that you might have had that you've trained in from other lifetimes, or just that carried on with you because of places that you've incarnated, or your home dimensions or planets. When you awaken to those memories, it can activate those gifts within you. And you can kind of like carry that into your healing work if you're doing Reiki, or if you're doing any sort of, really anything in your life. You can like ground it into your life. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of what happened to me.
the past lives could be a whole nother like topic for a podcast. And like,
Yeah.
guys, if you maybe you should comment below like what you want us to talk about next. When we do a lot of interviews, but then we also do these like podcasts where it's just Marley and I.
Yeah.
And yeah, we would love any suggestions on what topics you would like us to discuss.
Yeah.
But yeah, this book is available on Amazon. This is actually the best way to support the podcast. It's actually the only thing that's keeping the lights on in the podcast studio right now.
Yeah. Well, also I'll link below my healing work, my website. That's another way to support the podcast. And we'll also link our website too, because we have a lot about Kangen water. We've talked about Kangen water with Jordan L in the past episode. That is, we'll have to do an episode on Kangen water again. But anyway,
Yeah, especially
watch that
because we learned a
episode.
lot last episode.
Yeah, but it is like the most powerful water to drink if you're looking for medical grade water, or anything that's gonna like transform your life. Changing your water, we're 70% water, so when you start to think about the water that you're drinking, I would look into Kangen water. So yeah,
Cool.
We'll link that down below. But yeah, just like a quick thing about my book is just that, yeah, I don't hold back in my book. It's called Before I Live, I Die. And yeah, it's definitely kind of intense. So
we do have like a trigger warning on it. It's kind of like a horror movie.
I mean, horror movie, yeah, like some people skip through the parts where I wrote about the past lives themselves. at the beginning of each part or chapter. And so you can do that too if you don't want to read the in-depth past life, because those are pretty intense. But yeah, I definitely didn't hold back. It was a really intense awakening journey. But I wrote it as an example of how past lives can interweave into our current lives. But this was the darkest time of my life. It was horrific and also liberating and intense, and like, I don't even have words. So if that's something that interests you, just know that I was also processing lifetimes of being murdered and tortured and all the things that were really dark. And so, and it was very physical and full body remembering. And so, yeah, just know that. So anyway, thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys. And yeah, I mean, this was great. I learned more about what you do, which is awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And yeah, I think we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Peace.
Sweet. Peace.